Welcome back to the Build Bodies podcast. I'm your host, Alan Jaramillo, and in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing the difficulties of getting in shape when your partner isn't supportive of your goals. We're going to dive into many things in this podcast, such as boundaries, how to communicate this to your partner, my own personal experience with it. And what prompted me to make this podcast is the fact that as a coach and as someone who's worked with over 1,000 men at this point, I realize that it's a lot easier said than done to accomplish your fitness goals. There's many different variables that can affect your ability to stay adherent to a fitness protocol. One of them is relationships, okay? And whether a relationship just ended or you're currently in a very serious relationship, these two scenarios can play a huge role in either making it harder for you to succeed or making it much easier for you to succeed. So that's what we're going to be starting with today. Now, the very first thing that I want to talk about is the challenge of unaligned goals, okay? Now, when we're talking about this, it can be very difficult to accomplish a goal when your partner, who you spend most of your time with, is not supportive of that goal, okay? It'll be like fighting an uphill battle, okay? Now, I want to talk about some common scenarios that I've heard from my clients. One of them being is that you're currently in a fitness routine, you're maybe in a fat loss phase, and your partner decides to bring home this very, very delicious dessert from a restaurant that they were just at, when they know and it's very hard for you to control yourself around the situation. Now, another example would be them not prioritizing fitness. So instead of motivating you to go to the gym, they're trying to convince you to stay and not work out. Another one is feeling threatened by the changes. Okay, this is one that not many people talk about. When you form relationships with your partner, they form the relationship with the person that they just met. And over time, people do change. And let's say that you're 10 years into your relationship and now you want to start giving a shit about your fitness. That is not something that might be received well by your partner. And again, it makes sense, right? Like, that's not the person that they fell in love with. So it is going to be an adjustment. And I want to talk about a couple of those different experiences and how best to work through that, okay? Now, I also want to emphasize this point. This is a very delicate topic, okay? And with delicate topics, a lot of people get very defensive quickly. And, when it comes to your health and fitness, when it comes to communicating with your partner, sometimes we just straight up assume, okay? I know that this was the situation for me. I assumed a lot about how I was communicating with my partner, and that was later uncovered that, what I thought was true about my partner was not true. It was just stories that I was making up in my head. And the reason I bring this up is because there might be certain points in the future where, you want to be celebrated for your work, or you accomplish a major milestone and your partner seems like they're not supporting you. And again, it might seem this way, but the important thing to note is that you cannot read your partner's mind. And sometimes it takes coaching them on how to communicate with you in order to see not only great success in your relationship, but in my experience, a fitness goal. So let's dive into number one out of the 3 actionable steps to build that great support system. Number one is going to be open and honest communication. Okay. I often find that clients who succeed the best are the ones that communicate their goals openly instead of hiding them. Okay. A lot of times when we start a fitness routine by hiding it, it shows that we're ashamed in some way, shape, or form. And sometimes when your partner wants to find out more about you, be kept in the loop, become updated, we get very defensive because this is like a very sensitive area for us. And we become immediately defensive. And I know that I can personally relate to this because, I've had partners in the past and my current partner that I'm dating right now, there's been many times in our relationship where the communication wasn't great, and then we've had to work through those moments. But I remember vividly, there was different phases that we were each in, okay? Different health phases. At one point, I was training for a half Ironman. My girlfriend's going through a different hormone protocol for her own different hormone imbalances. And there's been many things that we've been restricted from doing with one another because we're going through very strict routines and protocols, okay? So sometimes in that specific case scenario, it can be very challenging. And these goals mean a lot to both of us. So what that means is that when I challenge her on something and saying, well, I want to go do this. And she's like, well, I can't do that because I'm on this protocol, and vice versa with me with the half Ironman training. It was a lot of time spent with training and a lot of early nights that I had to have. And I couldn't go out and have as much fun like at 2 a.m. anymore because I had workouts the next day. That's how frequently I was going to the gym. So as you can imagine, not communicating to your partner early on what this is going to take, the time commitment, how much it really means to you, that will not get them on your side, okay? If anything, it will just create more distance between the two of you, excuse me. Now, number 2, this is a big one, and that's to lead by example, not pressure, okay? Many, many, many times in my career, I've seen a partner try and force their fitness journey on their significant other. And I've been guilty of this in the past, okay? And please, please, please don't make this same mistake. When you tell someone to do something, it is a lot different than leading them by example, okay? People generally don't like to be barked at, and they don't like to be made feel like shit, right? Like go figure, right? And unfortunately with fitness, there's a lot of people out there who get into a routine, they become passionate about it, and they don't see that their partner is on the same spot. So instead of leading by example and trying to encourage the participation of them doing things together to get some physical exercise, they make them feel like shit about it, okay? And again, I will tell you, this only makes your partner feel more inferior to you, and that's not a great place to be. And honestly, you just look like a fucking dick, okay? I've been in this situation before. I've been the dickhead, so take my word for it. It is much better to encourage activity by leading by example and inviting your partner to do things that could be fun. I'll give you one example. Jordan and I, every morning, we start our day with a walk, okay? That's our way of exercising together that allow us to build good communication, talk about things that are going on in our lives. And, sometimes we just do these walks in silence. It's just good to have that company, but we're starting with activity. That's a way that we've been able to work out together without making it feel like we're like in the gym and we have to do this crazy routine together, etc. So if you're someone who's very disciplined and your partner isn't, a walk together is a great way to do exercise without feeling like you're doing exercise. The second would be recreational sports. For example, Jordan and I have started playing pickleball together. It's a great way for us to get our step count up, which is a goal that we both have. However, pickleball allows us to have a little bit more fun with it. We challenge each other. It gives us the opportunity to complement one another. This is huge, okay? When your partner does something worth recognizing, go out of your fucking way to compliment them. Give them praise, okay? None of us like doing shit without praise, all right? That's human nature. So it's almost like, getting a nice pat on the back, okay? And then when it comes to, doing sports and all that stuff, there's plenty of opportunities to see growth there. So that's why I love recreational sports for couples, because it allows them to be more active, but it makes it a little bit easier to have more fun with it. Okay. It doesn't feel like exercise. The other thing is being patient. Okay. Sometimes partners will take a very long time to open up to you. It is up to you to be that leader that's going to stick with it. And when they're ready, welcome them with open arms. Too many times I've seen people in the past, their partner finally is ready to extend an olive branch to join this fitness journey. And they start off by asking questions. They start off by, piquing their curiosity. They start off by kind of maybe joining a workout or two. And immediately, as soon as they don't understand everything that you're doing all at once, we kind of, at least I have in the past, just like totally overwhelm them, and sometimes what's common sense to us as people who are in shape is not common sense to people who don't have a good, healthy routine. So sometimes it comes across as like, that we know the answers and they don't, and there's just so much work it's going to take to explain everything. If your partner comes to you and they're vulnerable about this and they're not fully convinced yet, it's up to you to kind of treat them very gentle, okay? Remember, when they're asking questions, they're not questioning you. They're just curious about what it is that you're doing and trying to see if they want to do it too. So please keep that in mind, okay? I've definitely made the mistake in the past of partners asking me questions and me immediately getting defensive because I was self-conscious about the whole process in the first place. I took their questions as them questioning my methods, not just genuinely being curious, and that's a huge thing. Now, the third and last thing is to create boundaries and compromise, okay? Now, I think setting clear boundaries around your habits like meal prep, gym time, or saying no to certain indulgences is huge, okay? Jordan and I had a lot of practice with this in the beginning of our relationship because I went from bodybuilder about to do a show to dating someone who wanted to go out to eat all the time, dating someone who liked to go out to the clubs until 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., and that was the opposite end of where I was at. So we clashed a lot in the very beginning because Jordan wanted to do this and I wanted to do something totally different that involved getting to bed at like 9 p.m. Definitely not fun. So there's been many compromises along the way. And now we get to do a little bit of both. Most of the time we're in a healthy routine, but when we do get the chance to stay out till 2 a.m., I don't necessarily love doing that, but I will do that so that we can have that balance and compromise. Okay. Now, the other thing is that finding compromises that work for the both of you. For example, like enjoying a healthy version of a favorite meal together. Okay. I know that whenever I coach couples, one thing that I think makes a big difference for them is them cooking meals together. And so something that Jordan and I started doing early on in our relationship is, for example, we'd want pizza, but we'd want to make it macro friendly, meaning that we want it to be easy for us to hit our proteins, carbs, and fats of the day. So instead of going to order a traditional pizza, we'd go to the grocery store, buy the ingredients, make it ourselves, and track it all. And that was a way for not only us to bond, but it was a way for us to have the thing without overdoing it and feeling like crap afterwards, okay? So again, that's a compromise, trying to figure this out with your partner and, give them what they want, but also make sure that you're checking off your boxes too, I think is crucial. And after working with 1,000+ men at this point, I know that men very much appreciate, the flexibility that their partner can provide in these situations. Okay. It goes a long way. Now, I want to talk about just some practical tips. Okay. And I want to also recap that when you're, introducing your partner to your fitness journey, when you're introducing them to your routine and they're just not in the same spot as you, they did not sign up for that, okay? They did not sign up for this crazy routine that you just got yourself into because you decided you want to take care of your body. I know it sounds harsh to hear that, but they did not sign up for it, okay? So the only thing that you can really hope for and try to shoot for is leading by example, and one day maybe they'll catch on. I will tell you straight up, there really is no guarantee. And one of the things that I feel like ruins this for a lot of people is their expectations are just very, their expectations just are not set correctly. Meaning that I did this workout, I expect my partner to compliment me. I lost 20 pounds. I expect my partner to say something to me about it. I expect my partner to start taking care of themselves when I'm starting to take care of myself. Again, these are all expectations, and I think that having these crazy expectations leads to a lot of disappointment, in my personal opinion. It's similar to going to like a nice restaurant, you can go to a nice restaurant and anything can go wrong. The steak comes out wrong, the food comes out late, whatever. If you have the expectation that that's going to be the absolute best possible thing ever, you're going to have a terrible time. But if you drop those expectations and they over deliver, you have an amazing time, right? So I think expectations, while they're important in some situations, I think in this specific situation with your partner, you have to kind of train your partner to give love the way that you want to experience it, because it doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. And if you're familiar with love languages, many couples have different love languages. And I remember early when Jordan and I started dating, I was doing things for her that she didn't really want me to do. I just thought that that's what she wanted me to do. And it wasn't until she said, oh, well, I actually don't like that. I really would love this though. And then it wasn't until she came to me and I was like, hey, I don't like this. I really like this though. For a lot of men, I feel like we love to be praised. We love to be complimented. So when I get a compliment from Jordan about a workout that I did, or the work that I've put in on our business, or maybe an accomplishment of some sorts, there's very few things that would be better than just saying I'm proud of you, great job. But she might not have known that unless I told her that it means a lot to me to be recognized. So when you're doing this with your partner, it might sound silly, but you kind of have to train your partner to communicate with you how you want to be communicated with. And a lot of people don't have these conversations. So that's why I'm making this video. If you have any questions for me, drop them in the comments down below. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, leave a review or just send it to a friend that you think could benefit from this. I hope this was valuable to you. Have a great rest of your day. And I know that this time of year is very sensitive with seeing different family members, the holidays, etc. Don't have the expectation that everything's going to go to plan or be perfect, okay? It's okay if things don't go to plan. All you have to do is just get back on track as soon as you can. Have a great one. Bye.